So today what we are going to do is introduce retrieval augmented generation to you, and then how at Kore we are leveraging generative AI RAG solutions, how we have built RAG solutions, and how are we trying to make it more simpler to use for most of our customers, and then integrate this also with our entire XO product suite, so that it will help you in the entire life cycle of consumer experience, employee experience, and agent experience. So Josh will start going through some of the content. Feel free to ask any questions that you have. I have Santosh, our head of product management for XO and Search AI. So both me and Santosh will be pitching in between and helping Josh during the presentation, and we'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have. Thanks a lot.
Perfect. All right, thanks everyone. Appreciate you. Can I get a show of hands? How many of you are currently using Search right now? Okay, good amount. Awesome. All right, well we're gonna get through some of the updates to our search capabilities, and I want to talk a little bit first about, of course, within marketing, and as we kind of talk about who are we talking to, that's the most key thing. Hold on, sorry about this piece right here. We'll get to it. All right, so we're going to talk about who's the ideal customer profile. A lot of you are within that, right? And then what are the challenges that you're going through? And then the benefits. What are the benefits that you're looking for? How do you get those benefits? What are those particular features that enable those benefits that you're seeking? And then we're going to talk about search specifically, about how it helps bring some of those capabilities, and then retrieval augmented generation, or RAG. So to the point of who are we talking to, right? All of you, we have these ideal customer profiles that we look at in terms of Chief Experience Officer, Chief Marketing Officer, VP of Customer Experience, or Chief Information Officer. So it's important to kind of understand the pain points and the challenges and goals that each of these customers have. And so going to those particular challenges, we look at a few things that are listed here. So a lot of times when we look at self-service within customer experience, that's pretty well known, pretty well established, but with the employee experience, that's not always a thing. It's not always something that's as seamless or as conversational. Then also when you have other businesses in more highly regulated industries, that also poses a problem with the type of interface that customers are looking for. Also, when it comes to all the information that is available within a business, there's all different types, right? From FAQ docs, PDFs on a website, and they're all in disparate places. And so that poses a challenge with trying to even just research to find where the information is that you're looking for. So now benefits, what are those benefits? What are the things that a search tool hopefully is going to bring? So one, hopefully it understands employee and customer interactions and allows a business specifically to be able to bring their information into a search experience. Also, by doing that, you're able to help customers improve their productivity time. So instead of wasting time looking for documents or other types of sources, they can go to one source where they can get the information that they're looking for.
So Josh, if I can, yes. Sorry, Josh, if I can add, I think all of us are here because we have been using ChatGPT or Claude or some tool to interact and get answers from, right? So when we already have ChatGPT or Claude, why do we need a RAG solution? So most of these large language models are frozen in time when they were fine-tuned. So if you ask a question to these models, they will answer you from the information that they have about your company at that period of time, whichever is publicly available data. However, every enterprise has data in their intranet. And your employees or your customers might want to answer from the information which is there, which is not public or which is latest available. And at the same time, I think most of you have been there with the in the keynote where Raj was presenting the examples of the mistakes that ChatGPT or LLMs could do, right? So your customers might get incorrect information, hallucinations, factually incorrect, incomplete answers, because ChatGPT may not have the complete answer. So RAG solutions help you to take your enterprise data and give that as a context to the same OpenAI or Anthropic or any other LLMs. So this is where RAG is a beautiful solution that helps you pass your context, your enterprise context, along with your personalized information. The example which I was giving in the yesterday's pre-workshop was, one of your employee asked, what is my leave policy? The person who is in India should get answer from the leave policy document specific to India. But if someone is asking the same question from US, they should get answer from the US leave policy and not from the India policy. Role-based access control. So there are, most of our enterprises have documents wherein the documents that I have access to may not be accessible to Josh. Some of the documents he might have access to, which I should not have. So if I ask any question for which I don't have access to, I should not get the response, right? So these kind of controls which enterprises need are not available with the public LLM generative AI solutions. That's where RAG solutions help in.
Absolutely. Yeah, and we're going to kind of get into some diagrams to kind of show you a little bit how that works with this particular product. So just to wrap up this particular side, a few other benefits that customers will see from this is, boosted employee satisfaction and customer satisfaction. Because again, if you're able to find information more easily in a shorter time frame, definitely helps their situation. Also, cost. Cost is always an issue. So if you're able to help things be more efficient with your employees or customers, you're able to help bring that benefit immediately to the business. So now we get to the how, right? How does Kore bring these benefits to our customers? So first off, you have our search AI capabilities that, one, you can ingest content, your own business content. Again, if it's your own proprietary data, assets, things that you share with your customers, if it's in your CRM systems, you can ingest that information and bring it into search AI. And then it also is a conversational interface. So instead of looking at a document, trying to search for all information that's only in one paragraph of a 10-page document, you're able to get information directly relevant to what you're looking for. And then you're also able to understand, with the responsible AI safeguards that we have within Search AI, you can have peace of mind knowing that when you've built this for your customers and your employees, that it's not going to go off the rails and give information that you filter out that you wouldn't have presented. So that's where we'll get a little bit into more, as Girish mentioned, some of the RAG features that help enable some of that. And so you see this kind of GIF going through what this example might look like. So a customer example comes from Fortune Brands. They're a security system company. And they had a few different HR silos that were just all kind of disparate from each other. They also had a lot of IT issues with supporting some of their employees. And so they looked to us for a search solution to go across these HR and IT issues that they were having. So they ingested about 50 different documents within their asset base. And then they also integrated with Microsoft Teams. So you'll see the impact here is that they adopted about 50% of employees within 6 months. And then the employee satisfaction, which I mentioned earlier was a key result of this benefit, was up 20 to 30%. So in this particular case, real customer used Search AI to help improve their employee satisfaction. So now to get into the more details about the product itself, want to kind of talk to you about some specific use cases where we see Search AI really benefiting our customers. So first you see e-commerce, right? Product discoverability. We have customers who want their end users to be able to find all the products that will be relevant for their particular needs or wants. So search enables that easier product discoverability and recommendations. Another use case, of course, is websites. Searching information on a website can be tedious. There's lots of pages. Some websites can have hundreds and hundreds of pages. When you're able to help consolidate that information with search and get the relevant information more quickly that the end users are looking for, that empowers your business to get your end customers the information they're looking for more quickly. In the workplace, as I mentioned too. So with employees, as they're looking for information that's very specific to your business, to your function, search helps with that context. It does it in natural language, and it helps improve their productivity. And then finally, support and services. When it comes to IT or support desks, when you have a lot of customers and a lot of employees needing help for different issues and you're not able to scale your support system, this tool enables a better way for your employees to be able to get information they need more quickly.
Just a second, Josh. So these are the 4 categories that we are already engaged with many of our customers. In case of e-commerce, we have even not just helped in discovery of the product, but also in comparing of the products, that is also very contextual answering of the questions that people might ask. In case of websites, we have multiple use cases where we have worked with customers in crawling all the web pages, different languages, filtering. You also have multiple filtering rules wherein you can decide. I mean, Josh might show in later that you can even decide when to crawl, how frequently to call, what are the conditions, filter criteria, inclusion criteria, so all that stuff, including dynamic web pages like JavaScript enabled pages could also be crawled, and those pages which are behind authentication, we can even crawl those. On the workplaces, I gave an example where you could connect to get documents from SharePoint, Google Drive, stuff like that, and then answer. But on the support solutions is a very unique and beautiful use cases that we are solving with some of our customers, where currently the human agents are manually going to your Zendesk portal, ServiceNow portal, or Confluence portal and searching for their information before they answer the customers. So with agents, we have integrated in Agent AI with RAG, our Search AI solution. When the customer asks, immediately the query is also being fired to Search AI, and Search AI is generating the answers and populating those answers to the human agent who is in front of the call. And now agent doesn't have to go search, find within the search results which was the most relevant page, click and find the proper answer. Search AI is giving the answer to the human agent, and agent is able to solve the problem faster than he would do earlier. So that's a beautiful use cases that we have been working with a lot of customers. Thank you.
Perfect, thank you. All right, so in terms of the product itself at a high level, these are some of the capabilities that it offers. And so I'll just go down a few of these and then we'll go into deeper detail about what these mean. But first off, you have your content sources, right? Web pages, connectors to your CRM systems or what other systems you might have data to, any files, PDFs or docs. So that gives you the content to be able to augment the information that you're looking to put within the conversational AI interface within search. Then you have the content extraction. Okay, once you have the information, how does it actually get that? So it uses web crawlers, it does document ingestion, it has chunking strategies or document splitting strategies, which I'll get into to kind of help gather that information more succinctly. And you also have content enrichment. So we have our workbench to help, once you have that data within Search AI, to clean it up, tool it, fix it, make it a little more relevant for the output that you're looking for. Then you have the content retrieval, where you're able to also put in some of the business logic that Harish mentioned earlier when it comes to somebody you see is from one country and looking for a policy in another country. there's a business logic can help you define some of those rules. And then answer synthesis. So big thing here, right, is instead of copying and pasting information from the documents that you upload, bring a synthesized information using generative AI.
So just wanted to add some points. So on all these features that is being presented, some of the features like OCR and image processing, video and audio transcription, and some couple of others are like development complete and benchmarking going on. Rest of all are production GA already. These things are like dev complete, but we are running our benchmarks and performance and skill tests. So they'll be released sometime by end of May or early June. Thank you.
Perfect. Now we're going to get into retrieval augmented generation specifically, and of course the easiest way to explain that is, you're taking that information from, you're using a large language model, but you're retrieving information from a source outside of the language model and augmenting the output through this particular method. And so as you look at this diagram of what that process actually looks like, there's a lot of boxes here, so bear with me, but there's a path here. And I think this red thing works. Yes, it does. I don't know if you can even see that, but so as you look at the extraction capability of, if you're getting a website or documents, you start here and then it goes through this path. And so it starts to work through, we talked about access controls, depending on, if you have, if there's a certain list of people that have access to certain things, then it goes through this particular process. And then when you go and get this information, we talked a little bit about chunking. Again, we'll go into chunking a little bit later, but you chunk these documents out into, as if it's a piece of paper, you take out strips, and then you're trying to get more relevant information. Instead of having to look through an entire document, you're able to chunk these out, these particular paragraphs or what have you, within this document for more relevant information. And then as you do that, you get these extracted chunks. Then it goes through the workbench that I mentioned earlier, where you can, once it has that information, you can craft it and fine tune it and clean the data based on your specific needs. And then as you go through that, then you can take this information, what Search AI does is it transforms this information, embeds it into not just, it takes that text, embeds it into a vector database where it uses basically a mathematical representation of the text for more accurate ways to understand what is the end user asking for and how to respond with something that's relevant to that particular situation. And then it goes, after going through the embedding process, it goes through indexing and then caching engine as well. And then after it goes through here, caching helps with, of course, you don't have to repeat something every single time. It helps you give it gets answers that are frequently used faster without having to start the process over. And then you have the prompt library, where it goes through, and once the chunks and this information has come through, it goes through the prompt library that goes to the large language model. So everything we've gone through now is taking your company's information, processing it so that it can be brought to a large language model. And once it's in the large language model, then the large language model will essentially regurgitate that information, summarize it in a more cohesive and
Josh,
smaller way.
Sorry, Josh.
Yeah, go for it.
Sorry. So as you can see on the left side here, we support various data types. It can be PDF, Word, Excel, PPT, so the different data types. We directly support folder structures. And then there are various connectors, all your enterprise connectors, including the permissions that you have. So we extract the documents along with the permissions. And then, as Josh mentioned, they go through extraction strategies depending on the document type. Different extraction strategies could be applied. Instead of just plain old text-based tokenization, you could decide on document chunking strategies depending on the layout of the document. So Workbench helps in enriching your data. You might want to add header, you might want to add metadata for each chunk that is added as to what is the author's name, what is the file name, what is the section heading, or a summary of that. So you could hook all that information before sending it to embedding service. What we also do is one portion, that chunk goes to embedding service, and an enriched content, like you might extract some keywords or key phrases, and that is stored in the typical lexical search engine. So that gives you a flexibility to do hybrid search, both embedding search and text search as an hybrid search can be done. Now the semantic cache doesn't kick in during the extraction time, but now that these are stored in the vector database, a user query comes in. When the user query comes in, that goes through again, query is being rephrased using the context, and then that rephrased query is given to the embedding engine to generate the embeddings, and then we shortlist the embedded chunks that are shortlisted are sent to the generative AI to generate the answer. This is the normal process. However, if the same query is being asked by similar profile people, you wouldn't like to send that data again to OpenAI, because that one, latency, second is the cost, right? So even if we are okay with the cost, you wouldn't be okay with the latency, or even if you are okay with latency, the cost of OpenAI increases for the same information you are giving to OpenAI. So we have built a semantic cache engine wherein you can configure and define rules on the conditions on which you need to cache that information. So if the person, same query is being asked by someone else, instead of sending it to OpenAI, we directly answer from there. So this semantic cache engine again is another portion which is dev complete but is going on test. Rest all is there in the production. This will be released early June. Thank you, Josh.
Awesome. Thanks.
I think we have just 10 more minutes, so maybe we have to rush.
Sounds good. And so, as you see, these are obviously the interfaces that you work through, and then we talked a little bit about the business rules as well. So we're going to go. I know this is a big, super high level, a lot of connections between how this product works. We're going to go into these individually a little bit, but now you've kind of got a bird's eye view of how Search AI works. And then in terms of its advanced RAG capabilities, there's a few things on this slide that I want to highlight. One is the customizable chunking strategies, right? As I mentioned, being able to take parts of the document and identify which pieces are relevant instead of having to respond with all of the information that comes from the documents or content that you provide from your business. Second thing is business roles, as we mentioned, whether it's the person that's asking the type of information, or depending on their location, or depending on their function, you're able to set and define those rules on how the response comes through to the person. And then again, retrieval strategies. We're talking about different types of documents. We can get different types of sources that you need to be able to provide those answers through Search AI. And then evaluation framework. So I mentioned earlier, responsible AI is very important to Kore.ai. We want to make sure that the way that we use AI is done in a responsible way, whether the responses are avoiding toxicity or bias. That's very important. So we have those guardrails. And then finally, this no-code, low-code interface. Super important, as we want to make this friendly for business users and developers alike. So now when it comes to the actual interface, some of the things we talked about here, right, are the way that we get our content. So you'll see here in this particular situation, we're going to do a web crawl. We're going to get information from this particular URL. You can define the data sources that you're looking to ingest information from. And then you can, as I mentioned earlier, you can connect to CRM systems and other types of systems to get that information that's specific to your business to be part of this process. And then, again, when it comes to chunking strategies or chunking out the document, splitting the document into chunks, you're able to set that here within Search AI as well. Or as you can see here on this piece that you can do sizes of the chunks. You can elaborate on how many tokens you want to have used, and then also how much of the chunks you want to overlap within the answer. And then you also have the workbench, which I mentioned here too, is through each stage of this process, you can fine tune it, work and clean the data that's come through this process. So if something comes in within this process that you feel like, okay, that's too much of some information or too little, it's not for this person or it is for that person, that's where Workbench can help you. And then we have a demo video that we want to show you to kind of give you actual interface use or use case. So let me pull this up here. Make it larger.
While Josh plays that, on Friday, we have a deep dive using the tool. So please don't miss out on that session.
So yeah, perfect. And then as you go through here, see at high level, you go through, this is our new interface. At the top left, you'll see our product switcher. But as you go through here, this is our Search AI panel. And then this is where we're doing the document ingestion or web crawl. You see the web crawl piece here. And then you can configure the pages. And then directory, so again, PDFs, documents, this is where you upload those. And then the connectors, so other systems that you would like your information to retrieve from, that's where you would go to have Search AI access it. So as you can see here, Confluence, Google Drive, those are the options that you would have in terms of integrations. Now with the extraction, here you see where these particular sources are displayed, and then you can go and define, again, different types of sources that you use. And then you have where we were talking about the chunking strategy here. This is how you would define the chunking strategy. If you just want to use whole pages, if you want to do specific chunk tokens, how much you want the chunks to overlap. This is where you would go through in the interface to adjust those. And then the chunk browser is, once that information is retrieved, you can go here and see what those chunks actually look like. So it's not just a black box of, well, what part of the document did it get? You can go in here and see exactly what was retrieved. And then again, as I mentioned, the workbench here, these are all the stages that it's gone through that you can tweak. Right here, you can go through and look at how you want to define the prompt. You can also go into the other pieces of how it interfaces with the LLM.
Josh, just a second. So here, this is something that is very unique with Core. If you use some open source, you have to write a lot of code. But here, enriching of the data is completely with a no-code, low-code UI, which can be defined, drag, drop as per your wish. And then there is also you can also add a stage where you can reach out to an external LLM or a core-hosted LLM to enrich the data and give it back. For example, you want to summarize your table and get that summary and put that as a metadata, you could do that. So this is a very powerful tool for enriching your data. Yes, please.
When you ingest the data, where's it stored?
So whenever we fetch the data, the data is being stored in our Mongo database. Sorry, the question is when we fetch the data from different connectors and during the process of enrichment, where is the data stored? So the data is stored in Kore.ai. If you are using our SaaS platform, it will be in our cloud. If you are using VPC, it will be in your cloud or your on-premise. So data is not going out. Everything is within Core. Cool. Go ahead.
Cool. And then we'll just have a couple other things to show. Went through the index piece, but then also business rules, as we mentioned. What are those rules for your particular business that you want to have happen, as we've used a couple times before? If somebody's asking for a leave policy in one country, they don't want to hear about it from another country. So this is where you would define those rules. And then the last piece is answer configuration. So here, again, have a little bit of how the chunks are retrieved. This is where we have a vector database or vector retrieval, but you also use keyword retrieval. So there's a hybrid feature that will be coming. Then we also have here you can set different pieces of this process, right? Similarity threshold to understand a little bit more of the accuracy. You can filter out the top chunks, have instead of 10 chunks, just the top 3. And then here also you can use extractive answers, which is essentially just copy and paste, or you can do generative answers where you would use the model to be able to give generated answers or summarized answers from that information.
Yeah, just one point, sorry Josh. So here when you see the generative model, you could see a lot of commercial models like Anthropic, OpenAI. So Kore has built its own XOGPT answering model too, like what Raj was telling in the keynote. So we'll be, as of today, XOGPT has already released GA for request rephrasing, response rephrasing, summarization of the conversation. But for answer generation, we'll be releasing it by next month. So once that's done, so most of the cases you wouldn't even need to send the data to OpenAI or any other commercial models. It will be within the Kore's data center. Where we are still working on to improve that XOGPT answering is on the table data answering. So that will be something that we'll be working on. Yes, sir.
What's the relationship between RAG, Gale, and knowledge graph? So it looks like there's some overlap.
So the question is when to use RAG, when to use Gale, and knowledge graph. Sorry. So I'll first answer when to use RAG, when to use Gale. So you would use RAG for retrieving and answering any data question from the user, whether it is on your website or from your intranet for employee facing or knowledge facing. That is where you would use RAG solution. Gale is useful for 2 use cases primarily. One is if you want to build a fine-tuned model. For example, entire XOGPT is being built using Gale. So we are using Gale to fine-tune our own model. So you can prepare your data sets, give the data set, choose a foundation model that you want to choose, and then fine-tune the model. So if you want to build your own fine-tuned model, that is one big use case where you would like to use Gale. Second is for trying out different prompts and versioning your prompts and creating a prompt library. So Gale gives you a very good playground where you can try different prompts against open source models, against commercial models, and then compare them and then decide which prompt you want to use. And that can be versioned and that prompt can be leveraged anywhere else. The third use case that Gale provides is that you can build flows, non-conversational AI business process flows that you might want to do, and for each stage, say at one stage XOGPT is good, but for some other stage OpenAI is good, some other stage Claude is good. For example, in my daily life I am using ChatGPT for some use cases, but I am using Claude in some use cases, Gemini for some other use cases. So you understand the limitations of each generative AI solution and you leverage them for the right purposes. That can be done using Gale, but for non-conversational AI use cases, right? For the knowledge graphs are useful only where you have very strict rules that unless this department, this role, then do this. So if there are a lot of conditional stuff where you have to follow the certain hierarchy, that's where you would use knowledge graphs. Thank you. Yes. Yeah. Correct.
Most of the CRM, the data will be filed as maybe a JSON format or a data set.
Correct.
How does that work? So what you're saying is you can consume raw data sets and then.
Yes. So what we do is, for example, a SharePoint or a ServiceNow or a Google Drive or any other connector that we have, we'll connect to them, we'll get the data in the raw format that they provide and then store into the format that we need. So most of these connectors, they either give us HTML, or if they are say SharePoint has two things, either pages or files, right? Folders, and then you have files. So if they are SharePoint pages, we have connectors which can get the pages, HTML body stuff automatically from there. And if they are documents, we can just get the documents along with the permissions.
It's still the context of a document. It's not plain data set like a JSON structure.
We can even get the JSON. So we can even get the JSON. However, searching over JSON today is like we treat JSON as a plain text. We don't treat JSON as a JSON object. We consider it as a string and do the search as of today. In future, if it is required, we can also do chunking, better chunking for JSON, understanding the structure. Yes.
The purple. Yes.
Yeah, so I want to know, I saw that, it had a lot of the OpenAI, Bedrock, all of that, but do you have is it able to connect with custom LLM, custom endpoints?
Yes. So the question here is, yes, we support OpenAI, Anthropic, we have our own ExoGPT, but do you support custom LLMs? Yes, I think as an enterprise product, for last 10 years, we have understood that not all enterprises have same taste. They have something of their own. So we always want to ensure that we allow extensibility. So you can bring your own LLM. Right. So even today, you can bring your own LLM. We are adding features to bring your own embedding service, bring your own vector database soon.
And then one follow-up question, is there a number or limitation on the number of files uploaded?
So we are coming up with different plans. So depending on the plan that you purchase, there will be limitations. So technically, there is no limitation. It's just that to ensure that we are using the resources optimally, we are putting different pricing plans for that. Yes, sir.
Do you offer a mechanism from structured to structured data, more from technique and
So if you want to move unstructured to structured, I think Gale could be one of the solution for you. RAG is only for answering, right? So, but if you want to transform the data, then Gale could be a solution for you. Sorry. Yes, sir.
So these features, like the Search AI product, is part of the expert platform? Is the enterprise?
Yes. So yeah, whatever he has shown, most of the features are available in Exo 11 now. There are some connectors which we have. So though existing customers know that we have Search Assist as a separate product and Exo as a separate product. So we are migrating most of the features from Search Assist into Exo. So of that, we have finished most of them except for a few connectors. So now what we have also invested in last couple of months is building a framework so that I can scale, because as of today what is happening is I am rolling out one connector every 2 months, and I am getting a huge demand from customers for the connectors that they need. So we have invested last 2 months in building a framework so that I can add these connectors faster. So now next month I'll be adding 8 connectors in 1 month, and after that I want to add at least 15 to 20 connectors a month. And the target given by Raj to me is by June I should have 100 connectors. So hope that I meet that expectation. But yeah, cool. Thank you. Yes, they exist in the standalone Search Assist too, but as an advanced configuration. Here we gave it as a nice UI, right? Yes, so you have these things as an advanced configuration in Search Assist.
In the back.
Two quick questions. One on the evaluation framework. What are the capabilities of the evaluation framework? One. Two is on the extraction services. Do you have support for Azure from extractor or EMPS extract? Like if you want to bring in any additional extraction services?
Yeah, so that's something that we missed out adding. So while we are providing a lot of extraction services, we understand that we may not be perfect, but there could be some other services which might be doing extraction much better than us. Few of the extraction services which we have seen are doing good is the Adobe Document AI, Google Document AI. So we have built tools which will with which you can connect to them, give the files, get the extraction, and then use our public API to ingest the documents into Search AI. However, we'll be adding that tooling. So as a first phase is check the capability if that is possible. We have seen that yes, it is possible. We have done it for some of our customers already in production. Now we'll be adding that tooling into XO11. That will not be available on Search Assist because slowly we'll fade out Search Assist and have everything in Search AI within XO11. Right? And what was the second question? Sorry. Evaluation framework. So today evaluation framework exists even in Search AI, but only in the debug mode. So when you open the debug mode, you can see what chunks got qualified, what was sent to the generative AI, what answers came in, and whether the answer was complete, whether the answer was correct, and whether the answer has any factual incorrectness. So all that evaluation is being done. So what we have done is we have built on top of the open source framework called Ragas. So Ragas is an evaluation framework on generative AI based answers. So we have leveraged that and built on top of it. In the meantime, we are also building a framework with which you can even evaluate answers from two generative AIs at the same time, right? And then do A/B testing, decide A to be going to the consumer and B to be for tracing, so that you can switch off and switch to the newer generative AI, which could be cheaper in long term for you. So that's something that is coming up. Any other questions?
I think one last question.
Sorry.
Good question. I understand you have quite a few customers already in production with search services.
Yes.
You shared one use case earlier, which was an internal company internal facing HR use case.
Yes.
Do you already have customers that use Search AI and Search Assist for customer-facing use cases directly?
Yes, we do have. Maybe I can talk to those customers and then share that reference with you. But definitely, yes, we have public-facing, agent-facing, and employee-facing, all the three use cases. Thank you.
Okay.
Any other
I think
questions?
that's it. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, team. I'll be available outside, so if you have any questions, feel free to come and talk to me. Thanks a lot. Have a nice day.